is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I had to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy
There
has...
is not, really? It is to me. Rise, idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, you know, it's real tough.
but I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me.
But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys. But I had to...
There is no investigation.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I had to put her... But I had to put her on the side and worry about the boys.
What's going on, everybody? Good to see you. Good to be here. Thank you. Let's take a look. What do we got going on over here? Let me get my other earpiece in. What's going on? How are you guys? Good to see you. Get a little bam, little spackle on that. Little something for you. Good to see you guys. So after yesterday, fantastic show. Great call-ins. You know, a lot of people were commenting about the first caller of the night, which, by the way, I thought personally was fantastic. Takes a lot of guts to call somebody up and challenge them on, you know, whatever. So that's what I'm saying here. Love Josh and this show. Single mom. Good to see you. Loved the show. Yeah, it was a interesting show, but not going to be today. To me, it's going to be a little bit more interesting. And I've taken some advice from some viewers. And guess what? Tonight is not going to be a Don Wells bashing night. It's going to be an equal opportunity bashing for everybody. But, including myself, yeah, I get hammered every day by stuff, which is fine. It's totally good. It's a lot of fun. Appreciate it. But here's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about that red Subaru. We're going to talk about Don's alibis and why he would insinuate that he has alibis and Candus don't have no alibis. You know what I'm saying? But if you think back all the way to the interview, it wasn't an interview, it was a phone call where he called up and he was yelling at me. The one thing that I asked him specifically a couple times was about the time discrepancy. What time discrepancy, might you ask? Well, to hear him tell it, he would tell you that there is no time discrepancy. And I disagree with that. I think that there's a major time discrepancy. Give me 1 second. Not only is there a major time discrepancy, it's like for a missing 5-year-old child, it's the biggest time discrepancy of all time. Is that going too far? Is that a stretch too far? Because I don't think it is. Okay. Let me see here. The lab, you didn't respond to my email. I have not yet, but I'm getting there. I promise. I get a couple every now and then. I get a couple emails here and there. Hold on 1 second. So, guess what? We're going to talk about that day, June 15th, 2021. And I got to tell you, every time I go back over it, it's weirder and weirder and weirder. Let me see. I'm a little too hot on the mic. Mic's a little hot, a little spicy, a little caliente, a little too much. Let's just get that mic situation in order. 40 minutes. Well, the thing is, yeah, it's more than 40 minutes. It's a lot. It's a lot of minutes, okay? And one thing that I've always wondered about was that stupid Peace, Love, and Pugs. Let me see. That Subaru. I've always thought, thank you, 10 months subscriber. I appreciate that. Or, sorry, member for 10 months. The lab is spicy. That's true. Caliente. Muy bueno. Oh, we're going to break it down. We're going to break it down in a major way. Because maybe, just maybe, if we talk about this, guess what? It'll make sense why we talk about the parents and why nobody else in this case gets discussed, because they're full of crap. How dare you insinuate that they had anything to do with their missing child? I don't even need to insinuate that. They're the ones that make themselves look guilty of something every single time. Let me see. Let me open up and periodically I'll take phone calls. Let's see. And then we'll just go from there.
And can manage your face.
Okay, awesome. Great. Here we go. KP Baz. Man, I'm missing all of it. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to keep up here. Got a mod in the house. I can slow the chat just a tiny bit. Betsy, 14 months. Much love and respect to Josh and all the fellow lab rats. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. KP Baz, has Don Wells said both home before Ellie and after? He said a lot. Yeah, he said it both. He certainly has. All right, so let's just get into this right now. Bingo. See if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Not a very good zoom now, is it? Zoom, zoom, zoom. If only I had somebody to do this kind of stuff. Oh, wait, I do. I forgot. My bad. I just forget that he doesn't do it. It's okay. I love him. Still, sort of. I think. Okay, I don't know what just happened there. Does anybody know what happened there? What happened? All right. So I have to go tummy burning, hospital tomorrow. That's not good. Feel better. Feel better. Where are we at? Web source. Okay, that's the wrong one. Let's see if I can change it here. Love the cheese. You a fan? Are you a fan of the cheese? Okay, so let's take a look at this terrible. Well, it's kind of a timeline. I'm going to put it over here. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. What do you mean you love the cheese? I love the cheese. What kind of... I love... You know, I never heard of, what is it, Munster cheese until just the other day. Oh, man, what a chat. What a chat. Absolutely fantastic. All right, so the Red Subaru. And it would be interesting to find out how often that Red Subaru was taken by Dawn. I'm guessing not often. It wouldn't even surprise me if that was the only day that he drove it to work. But I don't have any proof of that. I'm just saying it's quite odd to take a car like that, especially when the kids will be out and about. Summer's out and about, but the kids don't go. I still wonder how come the boys didn't go, according to Dawn and Candus, or Candus. Why wouldn't they want to go swimming? I don't know. I find that odd. Please don't attack anybody in the chat. I've had smoked Gouda. It's good stuff. Please don't attack anybody in the chat. Yeah. So, how many times did he take the Subaru? Well, that's a good question. But like I said, it couldn't have been many because, you know, he even kind of says, well, it was odd. But he claims that he left for Jonesboro at 7:30 that morning. He left for work in Jonesboro. I have nothing to believe anything different. It's totally, you know, he's a working guy. He works. I mean, that is something, you know, you can't deny that. True Cowgirl says, let's talk it out. Oh, we're going to talk it out. Annette Thompson, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Munster's really good. Dawn and his criminal activities. Well, so let's just, you know, I'm not disagreeing with you. But God, this thing sucks. What's over here? Hold on. Image, display, boom. Add source. Is that the right? Well, that's good enough, I think, right? No, not really. Seriously sucks. It sucks. All right, whatever. All right, so Donnie Boy claims on the 15th of June, 2021, that he left at 7:30. This is according to his statements. These statements are taken from the interviews with Chris McDonough of the Interview Room. They're universally used on everybody's channel. Even the haters use it, and they shouldn't. If they don't like them, then you shouldn't use his stuff. But that's where it all comes from. So suck ass. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that, but seriously, for real. Okay, so we all know about the mumbo jumbo in the middle, right? We know about the Hunter and the whatever, the hospital trip, the pain clinic trip, whatever. There's a lot of that, okay? We're not really, we're kind of back and forth. What's what, who's who, when did this happen, when did that happen, so on and so forth. So all these timelines were put together by the interviews that Chris McDonough has done in this case. So here's where it gets really interesting, and not like in a good way. At 4:15 per Candus Wells, she steps outside and sees Candy Hair, which is the mother, or as you may know her, Grandis, on her step of the trailer, looking at the plants on the ground, and tells Candus Wells they need to be transplanted into bigger pots. Summer Wells comes and helps plant with them. So this is at 4:15 that afternoon. Okay. 4:15. According to Candus. So Summer Wells comes out and plants with Candus Wells and Grandma Candy Hair for 30 to 50 minutes. That's just, I guess, an approximate time. Everything seems weird, like when you analyze it like that. But I won't say that it's weird because I don't know if it is weird or not. It seems like a real weird-ish time, but So, okay. So per June 28th interview, Candus Wells stated that she was not certain how many hours had passed from the time they got home when Summer Wells disappeared. And by the way, so you have them going to these different spots, all right? She's got Grandma, she's got Summer, and she's picking up Hunter. And for some reason, they take the piece of crap so Don can take his Subaru that has Starlink in it so he can be like, I was here because I drove this car. That's just my opinion. Make of it what you want. Candus, Grandis, and Hunter know what went down. Don is the cleanup man this time. You might be right about that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Okay, so we'll get there. We're getting there, folks. We're getting there. I really can't tell you all the time details. So immediately when you hear that, I can't remember the craziest day of your life. Are you supposed to remember every time, every little detail, every little thing? No, probably not. Especially if you're distraught. There's some discrepancy. about that. All right. So anyway, I really can't tell you all the time details because time gets away from you when you're trying to enjoy yourself. All right. Fair enough. I'll go with that. I don't think Joe Popowick says Don wasn't driving the Subaru. I can send you video. First and foremost, Don says that he was driving the Subaru. So I'm not really, no offense. I'm just not really interested in I'm going to go off of what Don says. All right. Because what he says is that he was driving the interview, or that he was driving the Subaru, not the interview. All right. So moving on from there. This is in between 4:15 and 4:30. And I tell you what, if you can, and don't prove it to me, prove it to TBI, because if you can prove to TBI that Don wasn't driving the Subaru on the day that he said he was driving the Subaru, which I think would be pretty easy to substantiate, then he would go to jail for lying to investigators. I just don't see why. Okay, yeah, send it. But also send it to TBI. Yes, play nice. Please, play nice. Seriously, it's come on. I know everybody wants to interview, driving the interview, yeah. All right, here we go. Summer Wells asked to go back into the house, and this is between 4:15 and 4:30. All right? 4:15 and 4:30. Summer Wells then asked to go back into the house with her brothers. Candus states she got up, walked her back across to where she could literally see her walk into the kitchen, into the home. I don't know. I don't believe that, but, that's what she says. She's not a helicopter mother. She never has been. But look, let's just give her the benefit of the doubt on that. And let's say that she absolutely did walk her back over and did watch her walk into the kitchen, into the home. Okay. So now she goes back to her mother's trailer to help her fix her knee brace for about 2 to 5 minutes. 2 to 5 minutes. All right. That comes from Candus, and let's see. I believe so. The scream is Jody Sue reported to TBI per the neighbor. And by the way, just leave her alone in the chat. She's here respectfully. She's always been respectful. She's never caused a problem in my chat. Please do not cause her any problems in the chat. You can have your opinion. You can say whatever you want, into your pillow. But I kind of think of the chat as like my guests. Like you guys are all my guests. And I don't really like when people attack my guests. That's just me. So I think that's fair enough. Would you say that's fair enough? Fair enough. Moving on. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Okay, you guys, chat. Let's take a step back, okay? This is the timeline according to the people that were interviewed. I'm not saying that this is correct information. I'm not saying that the scream has anything to do with anything. I'm not saying that the flowers have anything to do with it. This is a timeline according to the people that were involved, not according to law enforcement. Okay? Let's do this. Hang in there with me, folks. Let's just per the neighbor, her and her kids were in the cabin and they heard a scream happen outside. Said it sounded so different and wrong, and everyone got quiet in the house. It was that strange. So by 5 o'clock, by 5 o'clock, it said that they were searching between 4:45 and 5. That's when the search started. Okay, but according to Candus, she goes back in the home, yells a few times, and goes downstairs to check and realize she's just gone. Candus sends the 3 boys down to the creek to look for Summer Wells. Then, when they still did not find Summer Wells, Candus called Dawn Wells, because that's what I do automatically. So this is between 5:52 and 5:53. Let me see here. 5:52 and 5:53. Automatically, I freak out, you know. Don Wells was working in Jonesboro, as he said he left at 7:30 that day. And Candace Wells calls from her own phone, then drops her phone and runs to Candy Hair, which is Grandis, to get the phone and call 911. When told about the scream at a later date, Candace Wells states that she was inside looking for Summer when it happened and that the TV was on and she didn't hear a thing. All right. So this is 5:32 to 5:35. All right. Why at 6:26 does Candace call 911 on her mother's phone, then drives the truck all the way down to the church, then went all the way down the other way and didn't see nobody even out and about? Then I went all the way back in the holler as far as the truck can go and didn't see nothing back in there. Either when I was coming back out of the holler. The cops were coming up my driveway, so I just followed them in here. I don't recall if Dawn was here. I don't recall if Dawn was here because the police got here, and if he was at the same time, then they showed up at the same time. So then Dawn, 3 minutes later, according to this timeline, he calls 911 from work. And per Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, Summer Wells is reported missing at 6:30. But according to the neighbors, they were searching much sooner than that. Somewhere in the 4:45 range. 5 o'clock. Candace is looking at 5:30 to 5:35. They're searching the holler. She says she's driving down. At 7 p.m., Don claims that he makes a 45-minute drive home in 25 minutes. He arrives before law enforcement, but many neighbors were already searching. And then he goes to the shed. Now, if that's not one of the choppiest timelines you've ever heard in your life when it comes to a missing child, I have no idea how this all started at 5 o'clock. The phone call to law enforcement doesn't go in until close to an hour after that. Then, after the first phone call, then Dawn, for some reason, well, you know, good for him, calls the cops. And so he claims that he makes that drive. And by the way, if you ask Dawn would say that he made it, that he got home around 5:30 or so, or 6 or 6:30. He's not really sure what time he'd get home. Let's see. It was Jody. Josh, can you tell me if Don ever said he told the boys to go back to the house after he came up and other neighbors searching for Summer? Where can I find that piece? You know what? Off the top of my head, I don't know. But I'll get back to you on that. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Don said he made it about 20 minutes. You guys got to understand that this is a rough timeline. So, 10 minutes here or there. But the problem is the biggest gaps and the biggest inconsistencies in this story are from 5 o'clock to 6:26. People state that even around 4:45. And Jody Sue, you're in the chat. If you would like to say, do you remember what time you started searching yourself? If you don't remember, that's totally fine. But I believe we had spoke before, and it was somewhere around 4:45 to 5 o'clock. All right. So somewhere around there. Interesting. Officials say it exists, but if it was said, it was a lie too. Well, nothing surprises me. Nothing surprises me there. But here's the thing. What's going on between 5 o'clock, 4:45 and 6:26? All right. So that is at least an hour of searching. Oh, yeah. We haven't even got to that gap. We'll back up and we'll take a look at this. 5:30, 6:30, 7. There is no good timeline here. Nobody knows what time anybody says anything. Officials say, welcome to the show. Yeah, we haven't talked about that yet. When they say unfounded, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. They just say, well, they don't have any information that would lead them to believe that it had to do with this case. They just don't know. It's unfounded, meaning, yeah, it's unfounded. We don't know. We don't know anything. Let me see here. All right. So, why was Dawn, after all these inconsistencies, and this case is ripe, okay? This case is ripe with inconsistencies. Why did Don, for some reason that day, take the Subaru? Why would he take the Subaru? What was the point of him taking the Subaru that day? And I would also be curious to know is how many times he'd taken the Subaru. It sounded like that day he woke up and decided, hey, I'm going to take the Subaru today. Why? Is it because it has Starlink? Is it because it can be tracked and the truck can't? You want to know where you are? You want them to know where you are? It's like, but before Don could call 911 by his own admittance, he says that he had to put his spackling tools away because they're expensive and he didn't want them to get stolen. Okay. I would say fair enough, but to me, that's just, odd behavior. Super odd behavior. Whatever was going on that day, to point to a stranger abduction with what we're looking at, according to their own words, just seems most unlikely. Not only does it seem unlikely, it almost seems impossible. Why all the lies? Why all the time inconsistencies? Why antagonize your wife by saying, hey, I have 7 alibis. You ain't got none. You're going down. You're going down. Wow. Honestly. And the best story that they could come up with to cover their own ass is a stranger abduction. And because I'm telling you, this is exactly why that story works for them and has kept them out of jail or prison for all this time. If they can deny, if they say, look, I was at work, grandma was sleeping, the boys were in the house, and somebody somehow, some way snuck up here and stole our daughter with a house full of people, at least 5 people on the property, including, 10 dogs or so, 10 barking dogs, that somebody came up there. And by the way, if you give Dawn or Candus kind of a, well, is it possible that maybe she wandered away? And they go, well, but she wouldn't wander away. Well, why not? Because if they said that she wandered away, what happens there? Child neglect. That's a charge. And with their history with CPS, and God, I tell you, it goes way back, farther than you guys even know. It's nuts how far CPS goes back with these two. And this will be a topic for another day. The state skipping, to avoid CPS. Because that's what happened. I feel very strongly about that. Okay, maybe it didn't, but it's pretty interesting. Scariest people were direct relatives of a poor little Summer. Yep. Jody Sue, what time can you tell me what time it was that you started searching? I was just curious because that would help nail down the timeline on your end. But yes, manufactured. It feels very like, let's just throw this into the air and see what happens. You know what I mean? And that's what was going on. There was a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, a lot of moving parts. There's just a lot. She didn't wander off. I wouldn't think so. Did she say 6:09? All right, okay, so 6:09 is when she starts searching. Got it. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's fine. Hold on. Let me take a look here. All right. Summer's been missing 20 months as of today. That is true. But think about this. June 15th, 2021, Don wakes up for work. And he's getting ready to go to a spackling job. And for some reason that day, and like I said, I have a feeling that may have been the very first day. For some reason, he took the car that day. It wasn't common practice. That I know. And that's admitted. It's not common practice for him to do that. But he does. And he's in Jonesboro. And he's working. And all that may be true. All that may be true. But there is an enormous gap from, I would say, 2:30 to about 6. And then the phone call to police doesn't go in until 6:26, according to dispatch. Now, if you were listening to dispatch, you know what? Matter of fact, let me just bring that up. Listen to the dispatch call. Ba.
We've gone on back on the phone.
Oh, wait. Maybe that's the domestic call. That's not good. Yeah, I used to have it queued up. I don't anymore. I wish I had it. Oh, wait. Here we go.
Tonight, the radio scanner tracked summer.
Okay, so I'm going to read it and then play it. You be en route to 110 Ben Hill Road off Beach Creek. It will be the first resident on your right. In reference to a missing 4-year-old, which was a miscommunication, apparently.
You be en route to 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek. Should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised.
The parents have called in and advised the mother had went for a walk, came home, and now they can't find her. But do they actually say what time the mother went for a walk? Was it at 5 o'clock? Nobody went for a walk. She was helping Candus with her knee brace. That's not a walk. Her going over to the trailer is not a walk. I've seen the video. It's like, I don't know, 15 feet at the most.
I went for a walk, came home. Now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
She's been gone for about 10 minutes now. Now, when you ask Dawn, Dawn will say that there was a miscommunication with the 911 dispatch and the information. So somebody either told dispatch that she had only been missing for 10 minutes, which would have made her go missing around 6:16. Jody Sue says that they started searching at 6:09. But Candus says that she'd only been missing for about 10 minutes when this phone call takes place. When this phone call takes place, they tell the dispatch that she'd only been missing for 10 minutes. Well, according to Candus, around 5:30 and 5:35, that's when she realized that she was gone. So then an hour later, she calls dispatch and says, and maybe dispatch was mistaken. That would be a lot of mistaken information by the dispatch. But how in the holy hell do you mix up an hour or more and 10 minutes? Okay. How do you do that? And when I asked Mr. Wells, Donald himself, he told me that there was no time discrepancy, but not only is there a time discrepancy, there's like 10. Just in the not even the whole day, just a short amount of hours. And there are people out there that say, well, Dawn and Candus didn't have anything to do with it. Kelly S. says, because they're not good with time. Damn time. There's a huge difference between 10 minutes and an hour. And I don't care if you're on Tennessee time or not. I don't care if you're on Tennessee time or not. Why did Dawn take the Subaru that day? How do you not know if you beat the cops or don't beat the cops to the house? You would obviously see cop cars pulling up. Sometimes he thinks sometimes he says he did, sometimes he says he didn't. Now I don't want anybody to get mad and say, hey, you're bashing the parents. No, I'm asking the questions the same way that every other watchdog group in the world who claims to be on top of people. You call out the discrepancies and the misinformation and the Houdini, sleight of hand. Well, this is what this is, okay? If you can't get one solid piece of information down, and the best that you can come up with, Little Bit gifted 5 lab memberships. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Little Bit, very much. Chrissy M, good to see you. Thank you so much for that. Facts are facts and not bash. I'm not bashing anybody. I thought that I would just take a night off from that, and then let's just talk about the timeline. 10 minutes. She told the dispatch, so she calls at 6:26, folks. 6:26. And tells the dispatch, unless, once again, the dispatch lady is mistaken, which would, they claim that there was a misinformation, there was, the whole thing. How they would get the entire call wrong would be, weird, but just remember him and Candus were on the phone the whole way. I agree. I agree. Yo, Man Girl says, this is not the time to forget one detail. It would be burned into your brain. Not only do they, it's not even that they forgetting details. Yes, she called. It's not that they're even, it's not, I'm sure that they're leaving out details. But this 911 call would be full of misinformation. This phone call would be full of wrong information. Now, the 4-year-old Summer Wells, that was wrong. They were a year off, no question about it. How they got that information, I don't know. Maybe Dawn thought she was 4 at the time. Maybe Candus thought she was 4 at the time. That's not outside the realm of possibility. And I'm telling you the truth. I'm not even being a jerk about it. It's completely possible that they thought that she was 4 years old. Maybe they told the dispatch that. But what they definitely told the dispatch was that she was gone for how long?
Off of Beach Creek should be the first residence on your ride. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Okay.
10 minutes. How do you miss it by that much? How do you miss it by that much? 4:15, Candus steps outside and sees her mother on the steps of the trailer. Then Candus calls Summer over for a piece of candy. Very thoughtful. Per June 28th interview, Candus Wells stated that she was not certain how many hours had passed from the time they got home and when Summer Wells disappeared. You know, I really can't tell you all the time details. Why can't you tell us the time details? Can you come close? I can come within 50 minutes. How close? 50 minutes? Yeah, 50 minutes. So you don't know if she's been missing for 10 minutes or if she's been missing for an hour. Because what you told dispatch, and by the way, that's an official statement to law enforcement. 10 minutes. But around 5 or 5:30. How long? So here's my question. How long until your 5-year-old goes missing do you call, like, how long do you look? I'm thinking, honestly, and by the way, I don't ever want anybody to be in this position. I don't want to be in this position. It's a dreadful thought. But, like, I think that I would find everywhere that I could look probably within 2 to 3 minutes. And then after that, even 10 minutes would be acceptable, I would think. But she's 5. So the fact is, it is not going to take you very long to call the police. You're calling the police while you're looking. You're running around. But unless you're Dawn, then you put your tools in the car. 2 to 3 minutes max. And by the way, those 2 to 3 minutes, those 2 to 3 minutes would feel like an eternity. I remember one time Ronell at the mall climbed under a rack of clothes when he was like 3. Little jerk. It scared the crap out of me. I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, where is he? And I was yelling, ah! And I was about to run out and get security, and it was just a mess. All right? It was just a mess. And their story is, after all the time discrepancies, after all the confusion, after not knowing how old the child is, that she went for a walk, but she doesn't go for walks, and that was a miscommunication, that she's been missing for about 10 minutes, but the call went in at 6:26, which means that she would have been missing, say even stretch that to 15, okay? 6:09 is when Jody Sue says that she started to look as well. Okay. 6:09 to 6:26. That's still an inordinate amount of time for your child to be missing. Like an insane amount of time without calling the police. There's no bashing here. That's just how it is. Let's see. I have a real question here. How can you stop LE from searching your land, your home sets on, because you do not own the land? If you did, you wouldn't have to pay property taxes on it. I have a real question. How can you stop LE from searching? You can stop LE from searching if they don't have a search warrant. If they get a search warrant, it doesn't matter who owns that land. The search warrant is good. But until they get a search warrant, they can tell you to bug off. Why they would, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. I put my son to bed and went to check on him 10 minutes later, and he was gone. I went screeching through the house with the phone in the hand, and I saw his feet under the dining room table. He was sleeping there. It's terrifying stuff. Swiss cheese timeline full of holes. Yep. All day long. Thank you for breaking it down, JD. Well, I appreciate that. Search warrants rule. Yeah. The thing is, Candus and the boys were yelling for Summer a bit before 6:09, but still no calls to LE. Supposedly until almost, and that was 6:26. That's the exact time that they did receive this call. And then this is when dispatch contacts law enforcement. Contacts the police.
110, 110 Ben Hill Road off of Beach Creek. Should be the first residence on your right. Reference to a missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in, advised that the mother had went for a walk, came home, now they can't find her. They've been yelling for her. She's been gone for about 10 minutes now.
Again, audio from police scanner traffic that evening.
About 10 minutes. Man. So then Dawn's cruises up in the Subaru, which makes absolutely no sense to me still. Like none. It doesn't make any sense to me why a spackling man would take the Subaru. But you know what? Maybe he did just wake up and say, you know what? Maybe I want to take a nice ride to work. He seems like the luxurious type, you know? Heated seats and, keep his spackled ass, warm on the way home. I don't know. Maybe he just says, you know what? Today I'm gonna drive the Subaru. Oh, okay, yeah, it's smart, cool. But before I do that, I'm gonna. He said like it's a picnic, hey a boo boo. How about a picnic basket? I know. It's just I have issues. Let's see. Thomas asked me to do something, and I'm going to do it for Thomas because I like Thomas. Where is it? That's a long one. Where's the official one from WJHL? Well, I'm struggling here.
For missing 6-year-old Summerwell. Another story at 6, day 2, and a planned search for missing 6-year-old Summerwells is now over.
The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said teams scaled previously identified points of interest in Hawkins County. The agency says much of the area where Summer disappeared requires extra time to search thoroughly. They say it's extremely steep and dangerous. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniels spoke with Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, the lead investigator in the case.
Yeah, Ansley, the sheriff told you today that Summer's family now currently is not cooperating with law enforcement?
That's exactly right, Josh and Sarah. He also told me...
All right, so make no mistake about what was just said. Make no mistake about what was just said. And Ansley doubles down on it. God bless you.
And dangerous. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniels spoke with Hawkins County Sheriff Ronnie Lawson, the lead investigator in the case.
Yeah, Ansley, the sheriff told you today that Summer's family now currently is not cooperating with law enforcement?
That's exactly right, Josh.
How is that possible? Who wouldn't cooperate? Do you think that they just made that up? I mean, if you ask me, they've almost been too good to the Wells by keeping them out of jail.
And Sarah,
but yet they go on to say, hey, they are absolutely not cooperating.
He also told me that the family has attorneys. Now, he did tell me that he didn't want to speak any further on the matter, but I did have the chance to speak with Summerwell's mother and grandmother at the home where she disappeared earlier today. And her grandmother told me that she wanted to address the sheriff's comments about them not cooperating, as well as whether or not they have an attorney. And this was the first time that we have spoken with her on camera since her granddaughter went missing.
Okay, just to be clear, this isn't day 2 of Summer being missing. This is day 2 of a planned search that they did have.
Lawson stated that Candus and the whole family is lawyered up. I can't speak for Donnie, and I know Candus hasn't because she's told me she hasn't.
Now, I believe that Grandis may have not lawyered up, but just because Candus says that she did something or didn't do something doesn't mean anything.
I have not. If law enforcement wants to talk to me, TBI wants to talk to me, they have my phone number. They know when I leave the state. They know when I'm here.
Summerwell's grandmother, Candace Hare, says she hasn't spoken with law enforcement since December 13th.
They have not contacted me since The YouTubers were down here in the driveway, and we asked them about trespassing.
Summer's grandma was with her granddaughter all day on June 15th, the day she disappeared. She walked me through what they did that day and said,
Okay, so pay attention, those of you out there that say Summer didn't go missing on June 15th, 2021. If that's true, then every single person involved in this case lied. Now, while I don't think that that's impossible, it's probably not likely.
said she and Summer were repotting cactus plants outside of her camper, and then
Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite, and then she went in. She said, "Mama, I want to go play with the boys." Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
As the 9-month mark of...
Okay, wait, let's go back here a little bit.
Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite, and then she went in. She said, "Mama, I want to go play with the boys." Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
As the 9-month mark of when her granddaughter was reported missing approaches, she says the social media and online rumors have to stop.
If they want to help, that's great. But if they want to spread lies, that's a different story. Because that's all they're doing now is spreading lies. They're reaching and trying to figure out what lie can we spread now. And I'm tired of it.
With all due respect to Miss Candy, she should be tired of her daughter and Dawn lying. And maybe she is. Maybe she's terrified of Dawn. Maybe Candus isn't that nice. But, I mean, I would be more pissed off that the people that should actually know what's going on aren't really telling the truth. I mean, they're not telling the truth, right? I mean, come on. One more time.
The whole family's lawyered up. I can't speak for Dawn.
Her on camera since her granddaughter went missing.
Mr. Lawson stated that Candus and the whole family's lawyered up. I can't speak for Donnie, and I know Candus hasn't because she's told me she hasn't, and I have not. If law enforcement wants to talk to me, TBI wants to talk to me, they have my phone number.
Okay, but and the question would be, but what information do you have that you haven't told them before? So, I mean, I'm sure that you've been interviewed and all that, such and such. But, I mean, it's hard to tell people how to act in situations that they're never expecting to have to deal with. Unfortunately, Grandis has a daughter that went missing in 2009, so on and so forth.
They know when I leave the state. They know when I'm here.
Summer Wells' grandmother, Candace Hare, says she hasn't spoken with law enforcement since December 13th.
They have not contacted me since the YouTubers were down here in the driveway, and we asked them about trespassing.
Summer's grandma was with her granddaughter all day on June 15th, the day she disappeared. She walked me through what they did that day and said she and Summer were repotting cactus plants outside of her camper, and then
Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite, and then she went in. She said, "Mama, I want to go play with the boys." Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
As the 9-month mark of when her granddaughter was reported missing approaches, she says the social media and online rumors have to stop.
If they want to help, that's great. But if they want to spread lies, that's a different story. Because that's all they're doing now is spreading lies. They're reaching and trying to figure out what lie can we spread now. And I'm tired of it.
Now, Summer's mother, Candace Bly, did not want to go on camera. However, she did write this statement for us on my notepad. You see it right there on your screen as well.
Looks like it's written in crayon.
It says, I've never stopped talking to law enforcement. No, I have not lawyered up. I don't understand why this is being said. I can't speak for Dawn.
But you can speak for Dawn because you're husband and wife. Your matters aren't separate.
And we are willing to do what?
It's both your daughter. Both of you are in this together. Who writes a friggin' note after the sheriff says that they are not cooperating? And by the way, think what you want about Ronnie Lawson. I'd believe him over Candus any day. Any day. Any day.
Whatever to bring our daughter Summer home. Thanks for all the searchers. Now, she also did not want to address her new YouTube channel, Dr. Phil, or anything other than the comments by the sheriff made earlier today.
Okay, so she doesn't want to comment. Sorry, Ansley, hold on. Let me help you out. All right, the button got stuck. That's good. Sweet. Son of a gun.
However, she and her mother, Summer's grandmother, wanted me to reiterate how thankful they were for the searchers who are still out looking for Summer, as well as law enforcement for still keeping this investigation open and fresh. Live in Beach Creek, Ansley Daniel, News Channel 11.
All right, so, hey, we walked her to the house. She went in there. I saw her go in the kitchen. I kept my eyes on her because I'm very, 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 very responsible. I'm a responsible human, and I'm watching my daughter. Does anybody ever notice, though, how the boys just get completely thrown under the bus in every single way imaginable? I mean, it was like, I've told them boys so many times to do this or to do that or to do this or to do that. I mean, they have a lawyer, or they have the sheriff, the lead investigator on this case, saying that they are not cooperating. Ansley Daniel says, yeah, they are not cooperating. You know who else said that they're not cooperating? The lead detective.
County Sheriff's Office to figure out what happened to a little girl who reported missing back in June.
Ansley Daniel has been following this case closely. She
sat down with the detective John Pruitt with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. He's led this investigation into Summer's disappearance. He told me that as difficult as this case is to work, he is nowhere near giving up.
It is a lot to shoulder, it's a lot to burden. We have a missing child that we haven't found yet.
Almost 10 months and so much heartache. And investigators aren't immune from that hurt. The question of what...
So this is 10 months. So this 10 months ago, almost a year ago, and they still, this is when Dawn was in the booty house.
Happened to Summer Wells still has no answer.
There haven't been very many cases
smuggling in spackle through the Keister bunny.
Like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved.
The lead investigator on the case says his days are devoted to finding her.
My day, I check tip line and voicemail when I first get here. I do phone calls and follow-ups on any credible leads I've got. I follow up on anything that I didn't get to a good conclusion the day before. Then I go into my normal caseload of any new cases I've got, follow-ups on them.
They've received nearly 2,000 tips.
I will follow up on everything I can to try to bring closure for this.
Self-proclaimed online investigators and social media sleuths have turned this case into a mess of ideas. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even overseas. That help, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted.
If these people want to help so much, we always accept applications to certified individuals.
He says the investigation has led to the continued thought that if Summer is found, it will be nearby.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by, because we found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
Pruitt works alongside the TBI and FBI. Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data. Almost a year into the case, and Detective Pruitt says it still remains a very active investigation.
I'm not going to let it go cold.
Well, Detective Pruitt assures that what happened...
Oh, but trust me, part 2 is better. Where is it at? Let me see.
Search.
Nearly 10 months.
Or whatever she may have done, leave, that we need to focus on that alone.
In the height of the...
All right, here it is.
Search, those on the ground.
Parents of Hawkins County 6-year-old Summer Wells. For the first time, we have heard from the lead investigator with the Hawkins County Sheriff's Office.
And tonight he tells us what this investigation looks like right now.
Josh and Sarah, the case of Summer Wells does not look much different today than what it did when I first reported live on authorities searching out in Beach Creek back in June of last year. Now authorities are spending more time than ever before fielding through false tips as well as false hope.
It's sporadic. I mean, one day you might get 5 leads, the next couple of days you might not get anything. But it's been an active investigation that's I've been devoted to since it first occurred.
As Summer's disappearance approaches the 10-month mark, the scenarios of what happened the night of June 15th continue to grow.
The wandering away, sneaking off to go play or whatever she may have done, that is a viable option.
And it is a viable option, Detective Pruitt, but the parents swear to God that it didn't happen. Now, is it a viable option? I would think so. But that would fall under negligence. You can't have that.
The night she went missing, authorities said she walked away from her house. The following day, an Amber Alert was issued.
People are probably tired of hearing this. All possibilities are on the table. We're not completely eliminating the abduction idea. But
you're not completely? Okay, well, fair enough.
But there's nothing to lead us to believe that we need to focus on that alone.
In the height of the search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain, leaving many to wonder how there was no trace of little Summer.
She was like 3 foot, 40 pounds. It would be a lot easier for her to get through some of the foliage. And she's lower to the ground, smaller body, a lot more flexible.
Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data.
We have gone through reams and reams of data. We've collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that...
Anna asks a great question. I'm going to answer this question for you. If Summer had wandered off in the time that Candus says that she went missing, I'm sure that they would have found her. But you just don't know because we don't even know when she went missing.
It has been given to us, and we are still not much further along than when we started. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data, anything that we could think of to get our hands on.
As time continues to pass since that June day, it's increasingly hard to hold on to hope.
Well, we're 9 months in. I would hope that she is still alive somewhere, but we also have to be open to the idea that that is no longer a possibility.
Pruitt says that he has never worked a case like this with so many different entities involved, and he says it's still baffling that it looks the same as it did that night that Summer was reported missing.
Where does he say? Where does he say? Maybe this is it.
Today, for the first time, we're learning the lead investigator in the Summer Wells case is speaking out.
Nowhere. What happened to Summer Wells still has no answer.
There haven't been very many cases like this. I have never worked a missing child case with all these different entities and agencies involved.
The lead investigator on the case says his days are devoted to finding her. And tips have come in from everywhere across the U.S. and even overseas. That help, Pruitt says, has led to little more than time wasted.
If these people want to help so much, we always accept applications to certified individuals.
He says the investigation has led.
I first reported live false
month off to go play or whatever she may have done. That is a viable option.
Search, those on the ground combed through miles of tough, rugged terrain, leaving many to wonder how there was no trace of little Summer.
She was like 3 foot, 40 pounds. It would be a lot easier.
I'm going to ask one more time. Please, if you're going to badger people in my chat, no matter how you feel about them, I don't care if Don himself came in here, even though he's not welcome. Stop, please. It's enough. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Okay, come on, please.
Easier for her to get through.
Can you just respect the show? Respect what we're doing.
Some of the foliage, and she's lower to the ground, smaller body, a lot more flexible.
Along with the ground search, Pruitt says investigators have poured through data.
We have gone through reams and reams of data. We've collected statements. We've chased down every credible lead that has been given to us. And we are still not much further along than when we started. Surveillance videos, GPS locations, cell phone tracking, cell phone data, electronic data.
As Summer's father remains in jail.
At the Wells.
Oh yeah, here we go, booty house time.
In February, Sheriff Ronnie Lawson told News Channel 11 that the Wells family had lawyers and were no longer cooperating. The lead investigator for the case explained how that, as well as how her father's current stint in jail on unrelated charges, hasn't moved this case forward.
The family has attorneys involved, and that is not a direct line of communication.
That tone is quite the change from what it was last year when Summer was first reported missing.
It was pretty good, and that is not a direct line of communication.
Also, it's kind of crazy, but like, just leave the jab alone too. Leave everybody alone. You guys want to discuss it? You think that somebody's suspicious? Fine. I don't care.
That tone,
that's fine,
is quite the change from what it was last year when Summer was first reported missing.
It was pretty good. We would show up about every day, make sure that they were okay, and had a decent line of communication with them.
About a month later, in July, Child Protective Services removed her 3 older brothers from their home and appointed attorneys to the case.
They have been appointed for other instances, but it bleeds over into this investigation as well.
All right, so that is a very interesting, very, very interesting statement.
3 older brothers from their home and appointed attorneys to the case.
They have been appointed for other instances, but it bleeds over into this investigation as well.
Summerwell's father, Don, was arrested late last year for driving under the influence.
Of course he was.
And violating probation. Going off of that, obviously,
I'm a spackling man.
we know that
I like that jacket, though. It's kind of fire.
Don Wells
Man bun.
was incarcerated here. Does that play a role at all in this investigation?
No, ma'am.
On February 7th, a judge ordered him to serve the probation. Going off of that, obviously, we know that Don Wells is incarcerated here. Does that play a role at all in this investigation?
No, ma'am.
On February 7th, a judge ordered him to serve the remainder of his 11 months and 29-day sentence in the Hawkins County Jail.
With Mr. Wells, he knows when he first came into the institution, he knows at any time he wants to talk to let their staff know, and I will get to him as quick as I can.
But Pruitt hopes the Wells family knows, despite the other legal troubles, they can reach out anytime.
Communication between me and the family have changed, but I hope that they still understand that they can come talk to me at any time they want to.
You can find all of today's coverage from our interview with
Wells. He knows when he first came into the institution, he knows at any time he wants to talk to let their staff know, and I will get to him as quick as I can.
But Pruitt hopes the Wells family knows, despite the other legal troubles, they can reach out anytime.
Communication between me and the family have changed, but I hope that they still understand that they can come talk to me at any time they want to.
So, Don, housed where Detective Pruitt works, and he doesn't talk to him one time. And you want to tell me that they're on the up and up? That they're not suspects? That they're not suspicious? Look at the timeline. Look at the misinformation. Candus doesn't know what Don's done. Don doesn't know what Candus has done. Candus thinks that Don's a suspect. Don says that Candus is going down. He has 7 alibis. She has none. So on and so forth. Yet Don Wells himself, and Don, if you're listening, I mean, what do you want me to say, man? That's a terrible look. I'm sure you know that, but I'm also sure that you don't care. All they care about is keeping themselves free so they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. All right? So this right here is one of my favorite. Where'd that go? Maybe it got deleted. I don't know. Where we go? I wanted to answer that question, but the chat's going pretty fast. So 1K in chat. Way to go, Josh. Hey, look, they're here for summer. Thank you for keeping this about summer like always. Summer, moon. We're not going to give up. I agree. When Evil entered, good to see you. How are you? Thank you for being here. Don B, I see you in there. Jody Sue Brown, thank you for stopping by. I get it. People feel certain ways about you. I'm sure you don't care about that, and that's fine. You know, if you had anything to do with it, I'm sure you'd have been arrested by now. You know, but I say that about Don and Candus too. You know, but they say, "Oh, Jody Sue is so suspicious." So she's. If you think that Jody Sue's suspicious, how do you not think that Dawn and Candus are suspicious? Look at everything that they've done. Dawn was in jail for 8 months with the detective. They live in a town the size of Mayberry, for God's sakes. It's like when Otis would go in and lock himself up in jail. Dawn knows. They don't even need to tell Dawn where the supply room is to get more ping pong balls, or how to make, or, where the license plates are held and the press is. So on and so forth. The guy's in jail longer than, I don't know, Nelson Mandela. All right. And he doesn't talk to Pruitt one time. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. Oh, how dare you think that they had anything to do with this, dude? Shut up.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really?
Thank you for listening.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
But I have to put her on the side and worry about
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and my boys and my kids.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
There is no investigation. This boy has...
There is not, really? It is to me. Right. Idiot.
I've done my best. It's hard, it's real tough.
but I have to put her.
Hey, Voltron, do you think that I actually, I care? Do you think that I care?
I'm gonna do what I gotta do for me and
You should hear what I'm gonna say about you tomorrow.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Live from the NBD Production Studios, you're in the lab with your host, Joshua Diaz. On the lab clips tonight at 11. We got a late show for you. It's a bit more fun of a show. It's much more relaxed. We don't talk a lot of true crime. We just kind of talk. You know what I mean? You should hear what she said about you.
There is no
There's like 10 people there.
Don't say any F's and stuff.
Josh, you should hear what they said about you.
But I have to put her
Foolish.
on the side and worry about the boys.
That didn't go so well. Let's do it one more time, just for fun. I know.